Nick, can you hear us?
Sound like it.
Speakers are working, though. But I don't know if it's on there.
Nick, if you can hear us.
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Awesome, there we go.
Awesome.
Done? Ready? Good. I'd like to go ahead and call to order our planning commission workshop for today. And we will kick it off. John, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we will dive in, as we have been working through our comprehensive plan, going through essentially element by element within the actual working document. Today with us is our consultant team, David, and virtually is Nick. Nick was with us present last time, but Nick is virtual today. Nick will actually go through the slides and we'll go through each section, but I won't talk much. I'm gonna just turn it over to David, kind of walk through.
Yep, so if you'll recall, last time we were here, we went through the first 3 sections. We're going to go through 4, 5, and 6 today. We have made edits that we discussed from the last meeting, and we're incorporating that into a final draft. Whatever edits we make today, we'll also incorporate into a final draft. And then next Tuesday, we're going to meet here again to review the balance of the document. And then we're going to give you a final draft, basically a week later. Well, it depends. I'm not going to promise anything. I don't know how much modifications we're going to make, so depending on the amount of comments we get, we should be able to get you a final document fairly quickly, or final draft. So that's the plan to get us to the finish. And we sent these, I guess, on Friday, so hopefully you've had some time to dig into them and set your eyes on them and see if there's anything that jumps out at you, but we'll go through it page by page like we did last time.
You sent it in Friday?
They didn't get them till,
We didn't get it Friday.
they didn't get them Friday. We got it late Friday, so I didn't get them till this week.
And question about your, you said you inserted some changes or comments. Where did they come from?
No. The
comments
comments
that
that we
you
received
changed.
for the first 3 sections, those are the comments that we've incorporated, and we'll do the same thing for sections 4 through 6. Today, whatever you tell us, whatever we need to incorporate, we'll incorporate, and we're basically building the final document based off of these
So
comments.
the sections we're looking at today contain
Brand new.
only basically what's been provided by the staff?
This is based on the culmination of everything that we've received to date from you guys, the staff, and everybody else. This is what we understand, the sections 4, 5, and 6.
Who is the everybody else? Now that we're working with a live draft, you're making changes that you're getting input from everybody else. Who is that?
Our team.
Just your team and the planning commission?
Right.
Is that true?
Well, yeah, and the fact-finding information that we've used along the way. So any traffic study information we got from Kimley Horn.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so that's what it is.
I'm going to ask John to confirm that because we're hearing different information.
What are you hearing?
We're hearing it's coming from others other than the planning commission or you folks as a result of previous comments.
So
We have not been given any directives from anybody
No,
else.
that's why I'm asking him to confirm the information.
the draft that you have that's been for you, that's been shared by LS3P, that's the draft that we've circulated to commissioners. The comments relative to changes, any changes, were based on the commission's feedback at our last session and staff's feedback back to the consultant team.
Solely staff,
That's right.
Correct.
We haven't received any other comments.
not the council, not the,
If there have
Mayor
been,
or anybody
if there
else.
have been comments by any members of council, those have just been verbal comments that have not been shared directly that influences this particular document that you have seen already.
as far as the draft we're looking at, there were no comments
Correct.
coming from anyone but the staff,
Correct.
directly,
Correct.
not indirectly through council.
Directly. You're asking if.
So they're all,
if you're-
this whole change is
if you're-
staff ideas.
If you're asking about direct changes to the draft, were they staff initiated or council initiated? The question is those have been staff initiated changes, if that's the question that you're asking.
So it's staff making changes to a document that the planning commission has already worked on,
We.
without telling us.
No, listen, no. The documents that are before you are exactly what we've shared with our consultant team. What we did,
You shared it with them. You didn't share it with us. It didn't come from us.
so process-wise, Mr. Petty, listen, our working document that we shared elements, the initial draft that we shared, we stated that we would use every workshop to work through a few elements at a time. What staff did was go through each of those elements and provide comments on there to our consultant team in a one-swatch basis to get ahead of some of the things that we knew that needed to be redlined before it received to you. So those are what we shared, and we had a meeting with our consultant team. So that's what you see reflected in the drafts that you have before you.
So you're saying that the changes that we've seen today, or seeing today in the documents, while they are different than they were in the prior drafts, all came from the staff, including the deletion of items, including KIA as a recommendation, deletion of items which included the use of the vision, and throughout the document, as we indicated
No, you-
last
you
week, it
don't-
would be
you-
included verbatim from
This is
the
only,
document?
this
It's not
is
in there.
only part one, so that does not include what I think you're saying, the section that referenced the vision statements is in this section, which that vision statement has not changed.
Where is it?
It's on page 9.
I'm suggesting, John, that you and Andy have a sidebar
Thank you. We can-
after this, because I don't want to spend another 20 minutes. I want to move on.
That's not the vision. That's not the wording of vision that was in the comprehensive plan, and it's not the one we approved, nor we agreed on. If this is the only place it appears, it's different than the vision.
We can come back and,
Let's you guys talk that. You can update me, John, if you would.
When we're doing the next version of the document, will it be clear what the changes are? Is going to be a track change mode or something so we can see what's changed rather than redoing the whole thing from scratch again?
That was-
David, would you like me to share my screen, and which document would you like to start with?
Well, yeah, in just a second. I'm confused by that conversation, because that had nothing to do with this. And whatever you're seeing in here, if there is something that's wrong or different, from what I understand, whatever direction we got from you that I redlined on these last time, and I didn't track changes, I was redlining them as we go. Some of the directions was to move some things around.
Right.
Right, some direction was put the vision statement at the front of each section. Those were directions that we received. Those were the kind of things we were incorporating. And whatever, if there's additional commentary, we did get some stuff from staff, but it was stuff that we talked about in here that we needed. Like, we needed to get the organizational chart for Kiowa. I mean, as far as I know, we've not received anything, certainly anything substantial that would be different than what we've already discussed in this room.
That's good, John. We'll let you clear that up. We need to move on.
Yeah, and if you would, go ahead and share. When we were in this room last time, I read the vision statement, and I copied and pasted and sent it to Nick. And I thought we all agreed that was the vision statement. And I'm checking it against what it says here.
Vibrant village characterized by unique shops, fine dining establishments, professional offices is not in the vision statement.
So it is read a little bit differently. So, Nick, that might be something we have to change specifically. I'll read the statement as it's written. The town of Kiowa Island is a residential, emphasis added, and I don't know why that's in there, but it's in there, community incorporating a world-class resort and a unique, vibrant shopping village with a natural maritime setting that is being preserved and enhanced for current and future generations. That's the whole statement.
From the last update of the
From the
comprehensive
2015 plan, yes.
Or from,
But I copied it off of the document when we were in this room. This is the email. It's dated April 19th, the day we were in here.
the one from the comprehensive plan that exists now. That's not it.
All right, Nick, is the one that's on the page 9 that you have on the screen, is that it? Is that the updated version?
Different version than what,
Slightly different than what I just said.
This, it should be. I'm very positive this was taken from the Kiowa, either the town of Kiowa website or from the previous comp plan. I can double check that, but
Exactly.
this is
that was the-
from a previous Kiowa doc of some sort.
I think we can clear that up, Dave.
Yeah, if there's something wrong with the wording, if there's text missing, let us know. We'll,
what we,
I don't know, I don't want to get into debate. I think
Yeah.
we've spent 20 minutes haggling over a two-sentence paragraph. We need to move forward, guys, okay? Now.
so let's get back to what this is. This document has already been commented on by you guys, and we've incorporated the comments. So this is actually what we would consider a part of the final draft. The sections 4 through 6 that we were going to talk about today have not been commented on, not to the level that we did sections 1 through 3. And that's what our goal is today, is to get through the sections 4 through 6 today. Why don't we just jump to that? If we have time, we'll come back to this document, but I don't think it's necessary right now. Let's get through the meat of what we needed to get through, which is starting on page 55. The numbers should match. We'll go through the document. And we'll just do page by page like we did last time. So, this.
Hey, David, it might be good for me to explain quickly the changes we made to each kind of element title page, because they're explained in the first part of the document. And there were a lot of comments in the previous session about making these read better.
Sure, go ahead.
So if you allow me just a minute.
Please.
So each one of these elements, the chapter pages, we decided to be a little bit more efficient with our pages, as was the recommendation from y'all last time. And one of the recommendations was to have the vision statement at the top of each element. But the way that well, there were two comments. There was a comment to have a vision statement at the top of each one, and there was a comment to have the exact wording of the state planning elements requirements at the top. And both were kind of a little bit not as succinct as they could be for each element. So what we did, going back to the part 1, is we reference each one of these elements and explain them for what they are within the comprehensive plan. And then over here, we're saying, Kiowa Next tailors the required elements to Kiowa Island's vision. And so showing how each one of these planning elements in a very pithy sentence explains what's in each section and how it relates back to Kiowa's vision. So that's what you're going to see at the top of each one of these elements. And then over to the left, we have almost like a table of contents for each one, showing what are the background information, all the research that was done that's going to go into this element. What we're calling big ideas, we can change that, but that's the working title now is, these are the plans or, the really big ideas that are stemming from the background information, and then listing the objectives of each element right off the bat at the front. And then still having your overview summary of each element as well.
The icons have been modified to be more reflective of what's there, what the topic is.
what page is that?
This is page 11. So
We're at 55, we're back to 11. Okay.
what he just explained to you was the reason why we included this first section in here for you is so it kind of explains, is like the table of contents of what's going to be in the document.
Right.
And it's modified to express how we get to 4. So
Yeah, no, then,
11, you'll see what section 4 is going to be about when it's natural resources.
so, David, my only concern was I saw the changes, and I, again, other than the restatement of the, let's move on.
Back to 4. Natural resources. So the goal is to conserve Kiowa's greatest natural assets and habitat. You can see with the background and overview, big ideas, objectives. Any questions or comments on that page? There's a nature center there too?
It's just information about the birds, turtles, dolphins.
So they have something like that at both
In the,
places?
in
Sure,
the
let's add that.
KICA headquarters building.
All right, we can add that.
Hey, David, I'm having trouble hearing the commission's comments.
His speaker wasn't on, sorry, or his microphone wasn't on. He said,
Turn on the mic.
at the last paragraph, he just wants you to add, and Beach Walker Park. Because apparently there's nature exhibits at Beach Walker Park as
We
well
may
as.
can
Nightclub
actually
Park.
consider even broadening it. I mean, there's even been other examples that I think are being explored here at Town Hall, with our trail behind Municipal Center. So it may make sense that we even broaden it to not necessarily narrow it down to just those one examples.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion there.
Maybe we say, public out, yeah, so I'm okay with identifying a couple that we know, but we might say, and
In
and
other
others distributed throughout the island.
Exactly.
So, Nature Center at Night Heron Park and Beach Walker Park, and other locations throughout the island. All right? All right, we'll go to the next page. If there's no more.
I will just say, I like it.
Good.
I think
The font is clearer, too.
for the introduction kind of thing.
Thank you.
and that,
Yeah, I think I'm wearing glasses now, too, so I appreciate the fact that the font's a little easier to read. Page 56, Design with Nature. Any comments on that one? '57. Engagement. So we're continuing the nature and then get into the public engagement of that.
I'm just wondering if at public engagement, maybe an image of some of your public engagement? I don't know how much listing a few as, maybe it's just nice to have with the paragraph an image that kind of coincides.
David, thought occurred to me that not only should we design with nature, but we're also live with nature too. So I don't know, it's something that I think there's a lot of people who engage with nature while living with nature, something like that.
How about we just call that Design and Live with Nature? Okay?
And the graphics are
David,
good.
Yep.
what's the comment?
Design and Live with Nature. We're going to change the title. It's not just design, it's Design and Live. And then the other comment she was saying is potentially putting another image, I understand that you're showing part of the Grow Native Plant Database, and that's the image, because that is part of that section, but she thought maybe there would be something that's more, it's not tying to public engagement so much. The image doesn't tie to it as well, but
It's not,
It,
Does the town have any images from public engagement for some of these nature groups that we could use?
We can provide some additional images.
Sure you
Or
can.
maybe we can do an image and an image. So maybe the public engagement image is on that side, and we keep one, at least some section of this here, because they both relate to what's happening and what we're talking
May
about.
not- yes.
maybe the rain garden and the tree and then,
Yeah,
And
so-
again, this is very difficult to read on a computer. So, I mean, I don't know that, I think I understand the motivation to put in these plants but you can't really read this stuff.
It's really just to let people know that it exists.
Right.
And
Well,
that
I'm
there's
just
a place
saying-
for them to go find it.
I mean, I think like the rain garden, I would make that bigger so somebody could actually see and read what it is. So I don't know, it's not really something you can read in the size it is right now.
So maybe we change this, maybe we stack them. Maybe we put an image up here of the rain garden, and we make it a little bit bigger. And then we just source some of these things, because what we're trying to get people to is to the source, so they know where to go to find some of this stuff.
what about putting a link in there to the
Yeah,
Is that a problem?
well, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. I think we're just expressing that it lives here, and that's the name of it. It's a Google search. It's not hard to find this stuff.
Like I said, your image, it's
Sure.
not,
All right.
not large enough for somebody to read on a computer.
On paper, yeah.
All right, we'll go, anything else on the text there?
What was the word you put in on the
Oh, under design and live with nature?
live?
All right. Go to page 58, animal species. We're showing the deer and the deer density. And then the comments that we had received before was tying the images better to the graphs, so we did that. On the right, the alligators and the image of the alligator.
I share this with our environmental team, so Jim may be just adding a couple sentences on the Bobcat trends, just to make that more current based on our last year of assessments of Bobcat data. So that's real minor that we can, I'll share that with you.
Nick, I noticed the last sentence next to the alligator has occurred written twice. A recent decline in the population of alligators has occurred, and get rid of the next two or three words, disrupting the balances of other species. All right, anything else on those two pages? All right, page 60 is the habitats and conservation land. And I think in the commentaries from previous meetings, we talked about putting the area calculations in there. That's now in there, the acres and all of that. All right, that would be 62 and 63, beach management.
Do we want to mention anything about the recent erosion from the December 23 storm? Oh, okay. No, because I saw we had the Irma in 2017. spring.
Yeah. Yeah, when we were gathering that data, that wasn't in the time, but I guess is there something we can add to it, John?
The question I would have is, really, I thought this section was just kind of recognizing that, and we can add it, but I would see,
It was significant, that's why,
Yeah,
When we get to it later, it talks about updating all of these plans. This is 20, there'll be a 25 update, more current information. But what this does, it really tells you what is behind beach management and what
Yeah.
effort the town has to monitor and preserve it. I don't think you need to update it.
For every
to
event.
The exact date.
There may be something in the objectives and strategies where we can talk about even recent events such as the 2023 beach erosion, but make it part of the strategies moving forward because this is historic. That's what we're thinking about.
Yep.
Really some of the goals and steps.
Yeah.
What you want to do.
What, that was Irma? Was it?
No, it was just December 23, king tide, strong.
Oh,
winds,
right,
and
right, right.
Significant erosion on
Nor'easter.
beaches.
That was
The
crazy
nor'easter.
downtown. I remember that. That was nuts. All right.
What was it? Sorry, what was the comment,
Remember,
David?
so we're going to get there eventually on page 71 on the objectives and strategies. I'm going to make a note about the December 2023, what did they call it? I thought it had like
It
a
was like a nor'easter.
nor'easter, thank you,
Nor'easter.
nor'easter flood event. So we're going to reference it somehow on that page when we get to it, so, all
Do
right.
you want to reference that, the resiliency portion, because we're talking about tides and that sort of event, the resiliency element? We
That's-
can make a note of it now, but
Yeah,
Just
but
for
under
reporting
beach
purposes.
management, they do mention a couple of them, so maybe it's something that ties the two together. So I'm going to make a note of it, we'll figure out where we put it.
Mr. Chairman, question, page 65. Do you want to have Key Island Architectural Review Board on there since it's a subset of the partners and/or KICA?
Before you get to 65.
Yeah, let-
64.
Yeah, can we hold that till we get there? We're on 62 and 63 right now. It's all right, it's a good comment, but we'll get to it for sure. Anything else on 63?
No.
All right, 64. Marsh Management and Kiowa Island Alliance Co-op.
The right side paragraph, third paragraph, I guess, in marsh management, we name, the marshes need to be monitored in conjunction with KICA and Lucas Hernandez. Now, Lucas is a fine professional. He doesn't work for KICA any longer. He's an
Okay.
independent contractor. But why not just say KICA and the Conservancy?
That's fine, that's a good point. And so say the Conservancy?
Yep.
All right, got it.
Or Keel Island Conservancy.
Okay. And then to your comment on Kiowa Island Architectural Review Board, you're wanting to eliminate it or not include it, or?
I don't have any issue with it.
I don't have an issue with it here, but it disappears in the rest of the narrative in some of, if not all of the sections. But I thought we were going to highlight this and make it a lot more visible in terms of what what it means, who's to be involved. I mean, you've got the people up above, but it really doesn't stress that the town, for example, is going to take the lead. It's going to be staffed by, comprised of leaders of the various organizations. The intent is the people who are going to make decisions about the island have to come together and have to communicate with each other for a common goal of preserving, for the island, preserving the quality of life.
Isn't
So-
that
so
kind
if
of
you
the
all-
other section?
So if you all recall, in our other section, we had the actual municipal processes section that's new, that shows the breakdown of
In the
sort of the
government section.
Kiowa, the beginning,
government
the government
section,
section, that shows essentially how we envision all of the Ks to begin to work together to achieve our goals. This, I think, not I think, but this was modeled specifically from the marsh management plan. That graphic came specifically from our marsh management plan, and so that's how that stakeholder group was built. That it Key Island Architectural Review Board, it was modified because there were separate panels prior to, but the color distinction is a little bit funky. It's recognized now that you see Kiowa Partners listed with those three components underneath that. So it still shows as technically five entities, but the question I think Mr. Farrell raised regarding Kiowa Architectural Review Board falling underneath the partners, that was a question? It just doesn't show up really well, I think. You can see the darker orange
Yeah,
color.
it's like a subset color.
It's a
not
subset
intended
color.
to be a separate entity, it's part of
Yeah.
Kiowa Partners.
I would change the title if you're gonna leave the
Preferably.
title in at all.
Maybe just shift, we can probably shift Kiowa Partners over, but the concern that I would interject here is that we're programming for today, and so I think that this is how we would recognize that structure today, even though we know that there might be some evolution of what KARB be in
Yeah.
the future, so.
I think this is reinforcing the idea that there's going to be a Kiowa Island Alliance, or at least a recommendation of one.
Well, there is also, as John mentions, there's also an organization set up for the marsh management plan,
Right.
which is different and going to be different and continues to be an ongoing group, if you will, that will maybe work alongside of
Right.
the alliance. But
No,
put the alliance in here is,
what I want to recall is this is our natural resources section that's focused specifically on marsh
That's fine.
management.
Change-
And so this,
change alliance out of here.
Oh, he just wants to take the
Oh, take
word
the word
alliance.
alliance out.
So call it Kiowa Island Cooperation.
just call it with our work group, if that what it is. Call it
I could
our-
just delete the word alliance, Kiowa Island Cooperation. I could put a dash or something.
What do you call it? Comprehensive Marsh Management
the,
Committee.
yeah. I like the word cooperation because that doesn't tie it down specifically
Yeah,
to the,
that's a
that
good
work
point.
group.
All right.
And
And-
last thing, Mr. Chairman, you have Key Island Real Estate and Key Island Club listed under the architecture.
Yeah, I saw that too. I don't think that's necessary to have those two there.
So again, that goes back to the previous comment that I just made. Those are not separate entities. Those are listed under Kiowa Partners, under our framework of how we set up the marsh management work group. And so representatives of each of those factor into how that work group is established and structure, that we have representation as part of that. So if it's a concern of, let me just ask the question before, the concern of it being under the ARB, it's not sort of being under the ARB as far as structure or hierarchy. Is that the question?
I think what Luke is saying is, how will it come across to someone from the public looking at this? Does it cause any issues or confusion with having the real estate and the Island Club underneath the Architectural Review Board? Do we need those two listed?
Yeah,
That's your comment, Luke?
I think what you're saying,
Yeah,
we can delete them. I don't mind deleting them. I think the reason why they're in there is because they are groups associated with this.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And they're, in this sense, they're part of the monitoring and protecting entities. Like that's part of their, the Kiowa Island Architectural Review Board definitely is. We'll take the others out. We'll just delete them.
This is directly from the comprehensive marsh management plan, so
Yeah.
no problem taking it out, but that's where it's coming from.
I just want to ask then a clarifying question then on, if we remove that, I'm just thinking about the purpose and our consultant team who recommended this sort of framework. Is that signaling that we would,
Be removing them from the marsh
kind of
management.
removing them from them participating in that?
That's what we
as
would
a
be
role,
saying,
so
because this
be-
is, like he's saying, this is lifted off of marsh management plan.
Because the reason or rationale was that, for example, Kiowa Island Real Estate, even though they might not be one of the principal Ks, if you will, but their input to the process of how we manage the marsh, because they play a significant role in education and new property owners to the island, that plays into that. So I just want to be careful in how we.
you could put a heading on the whole
On the right
Traffic.
side,
and then say other members and just list the two, if you want to do that.
Key Island Real Estate, Key Island
could say in the town of Kiowa, there's several different departments that would have impact on the marsh management plan. But we're not listing all the departments, we're just listing the town as an entity, and then they've got departments to work on this. Kiowa Island Partners has got entities to work on this too. So I just think being too explicit or specific,
That makes, yeah.
I'll just leave it Kiowa Island Partners.
So here's a thought. Under Town of Kiowa Island, you've got building permits, code enforcement, planning and zoning services. So under, excuse me, under Kiowa Partners, why don't we, where we have those 5 or 6 dots, add Kiowa Island Architectural Review, Kiowa Island Real Estate, so that they're seen as entities that are related to those.
Yeah, it's better
And then
suited in that
take the-
box than the other
Yeah.
box.
It's in the graphics they're throwing you here. That's in, all the other boxes are squares. The orange box is intended to be a rectangle under the heading of Kiowa Partners. And I think that's where it's being lost, because it's too light. Go ahead. Yep.
Sort of what Luke is saying. Kiowa Island Golf Resort has a hospitality component, it has a recreation component, it has a golf component. Do you see what I mean? I think the structure that he's suggesting makes sense across the board in terms of how the call-outs could work.
Okay. All right, so we're just going to take, under the Kiowa Partners heading, we've listed residential community design, development, private club, architectural controls. If it already says architectural controls, do we need to even list Architectural Review Board, or is it okay to just list those 3 underneath that section? Kiowa Island Architectural Review Board, Real Estate, and Island Club. You guys okay with that? All right, we'll do that. We'll just move and we'll get rid of that whole, the goal of the ARB. We're just going to get that text out. All right, anything else on this one? Okay. Pages 66 and 67 is the wetlands and protected land. And again, we added the acreage there.
The the language in the bottom of 65, starting with this committee, recognizing you as the Marsh Management Committee, would comprise of TOKI? The committee would comprise, it doesn't make sense.
Committee
Is
comprised of-
comprised.
Yeah,
Would be or is.
that grammar.
And it's up and running, so it
All right, we'll just
really
change it to is comprised of. Put a period at the end of stakeholders too, Nick. Okay. Everybody good with the map? Okay. 68 and 69, Captain Sam Spit and Spit Erosion.
So on page 68, that last paragraph, starting with under the previous development agreement, that whole paragraph should be deleted.
Okay.
It's not appropriate for this. Agreed. And then in the first paragraph, starting with in the middle, the site has been undeveloped by the Kiowa Island Partners. The rest of that paragraph should be deleted.
So get rid of from the site has been undeveloped all the way down?
I'll leave the National Park Service is fine. But the site has been undeveloped, the rest of all we have to do Kiowa Conservancy, delete that. And then the last paragraph, delete that.
All right. Any other commentary there?
Yeah, I think I would suggest you just stop where it is. The site has been undeveloped by the partners to date, or something like that, strike the rest of the paragraph. There's other things going on that aren't even listed, so.
Yeah,
either
I
gonna be
struck that
complete or
too,
not complete.
based on what he just said. Is that okay?
We're removing the site has been undeveloped, right?
The site has been undeveloped by the Kiowa, and everything from the site down.
You said from this,
What's that? Yeah, through Kiowa Conservancy. I do have the paragraph, according to the National Park Service, barriers, spits, forms. It talks about the definition of it.
I'll just
There's
make
nothing
sort of
wrong with
a general comment. I think in recognizing it, I think we keep it in acknowledging what the characteristics of the actual site opposed to
Sure.
what the development practices or whatnot could be, may
Yeah.
or may not occur. So everything from an environmental or characteristic standpoint of
Yeah,
land
we're just
development.
giving them the definition and expressing what it is, where it is, and what's happened to it over time. Everybody can come to draw their own conclusions.
So that,
Fine, okay, the site is undeveloped. That's a good,
so you're gonna strike the whole paragraph starting with or whole section starting with according to the National Park Service?
That stays in.
There's nothing wrong with that
Nothing
section.
wrong with it, but why is it there?
It's a definition. It's helping people who don't
You
understand.
can say a
what it-
lot more about the spit if you want to, but the fact is, this is only a piece of information that affects it.
I mean, we're eliminating all the text. We got to explain
Yeah, I
something
know, but
here. Got to have a little bit.
is it relevant to the goals?
I think it's
Yeah,
informational.
it's informational about what Captain
That's
Sam
fine.
Spit is. All right,
Paragraph under previous film,
Just one-
that's
one.
out too, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And then on page 69,
As with the writing.
it's writing, that last paragraph. it's probably best to delete.
I agree. I don't think that paragraph needs to.
Not there. Yep.
Comment from Mark.
so he's taking out the last paragraph on page 69.
Yes.
Mark, you had a question?
My comment is about page 69. There's nothing to support the claim that Captain Sims is erosion.
Other than the imagery below it.
Well, that's not taking, relocated.
Okay.
Resulting in the shortening of the length of Captain Sims. So if that's what they're referring to, that's not erosion. That's an act of maintenance
Does it,
in support of helping the community of Seabrook to build up the beach.
can you show me where the wording is?
I'm going to change the title to spit erosion and accretion.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't disagree with that.
okay,
I'm just-
that's
I'm
fine.
just
That's,
saying-
that's a better way to say it.
Yeah,
Dynamics.
and the reference to 165 feet, what
Hey,
is,
David, could you repeat that comment for me?
What he's saying is, it's not just erosion, it's accretion. So it's moving, it's a living thing, and that's what he's saying. So we should name, the title shouldn't be spit erosion, it should be spit erosion and accretion.
Or
Dynamics.
dynamics.
Thank you.
Or another, what's,
I'm raising my hand saying, what does the 165 refer to?
where did we get that 165 information?
Is that reference
That's Coastal
from the
Conservation
beach-
League, right?
From our beach, is that, Nick, from the beach management plan, or is that from another source?
You
That's from
know,
another source.
it's,
So I would recommend then if, would just either we cite something from our, I think we have stuff that was produced in our beach management plan, or we can reach out to CSC, who's our town consultant, to find what, if we are including any specific metrics, opposed to the source of an external.
maybe we get rid of all of that. We just, it's obvious by looking at the imagery that it's moving. So the last sentence, due to the Bear Spit's natural formation of loose sediment from the Kiowa River, this is bound to be a continuously occurring phenomenon. And there's nothing wrong with that statement, because that's,
I think that statement's good.
Just take
Oh,
the first
the-
sentence out.
Take
Yeah.
the coastal conservation.
yeah, we'll take that whole sentence from 1 to the words 165 out.
Before you jump down that far, what's the basis for the information at the end of the first paragraph? Has there been a survey done?
Be more explicit, which one you're referring
Community has, the community would like the area to remain natural and public amenity and retain its character. Are the owners telling you that? It's privately held
I
now.
think we heard it in all the public engagements we had.
How many,
Online survey.
How many people showed up for those? Of the island itself, how many people showed up other than those from
I don't
the
think
immediate area?
a survey is warranted. I mean, I think we've heard it in a number of mediums that the importance or the natural state of Captain Sam's in a number of mediums. So I don't know if we necessarily need to poll every resident to include in that statement if we want to remove that statement. But I think the statement it's in my opinion supports what we've been hearing.
I think the first sentence says what we're able to say factually. Second sentence has no basis.
Except for the vision. Yeah, I think it has
You haven't
basis.
heard enough.
And I'm,
You say the whole community.
The last
You're talking
paragraph.
about the whole community.
the last paragraph of the vision statement, it says, "What makes Kiowa Island special is that its natural maritime setting is being preserved and enhanced for current and future generations." And I think this ties directly to the vision statement, which is kind of part of the purposes of this document. So I think it's probably a good thing to keep in here. If we've heard anything counter, I would say I agree with you, but I have not heard anyone say counter to it in any of the public
We'd also
You
say,
haven't heard it.
information.
We've got a few people who are speaking loud and clear. Their agenda calls for it, but as a community, the island has not been asked to comment.
I think so, Andy, based on what you're saying, as I think about it, you can, if you use that kind of
Rationale.
theory, you can say that about this whole document you guys are working on. You haven't gone to the communities and asked a lot of different stuff, but you're hearing anecdotally and what you all think as a planning commission, what your kind of thought process. So if you want to use your argument that we go to the community, well, ultimately, this document will eventually be a public document for the community to comment on, but you all are working on things that you've heard over time that you believe that should be protected and preserved, the work that you've done as a planning commission for all these years. So, I mean, I've been here for 9 years, and all I've heard is preserve and protect Captain Sam. So I think that is something that holds strong for not only community, for council, for a number of people. So I think that'll be a fair statement to keep in there. And then-
Stephanie, I don't disagree with that. I think what the point here is, the next step that I understood we're taking is we're going to go to the public with the draft. If, as a result of that public input, we can say the community, we leave it there. But right now, there's no basis for it as a community.
But I think you said you leave it there, you push it, and we push it out.
We leave it there or decide after we hear the comments. But from a draft standpoint, if you want to leave it in with a question mark as to, ultimate disposition, that's fine.
All right, we'll leave it for now. All right, page 70.
Mark, you have a question mark?
Yeah, a microphone would be good so that
I'm
we
gonna have
can hear.
those of you,
Oh, I didn't have anything.
both Luke and Mark, I'm gonna have, you guys need microphones because we want to keep a.
Yeah, we're trying to
good
record
hear
it.
you guys. Turn up.
Hang on, you gotta press the green light should come on. Even better, shoes up.
Wow, this is more difficult than town council meeting. I was going to say, the other thing, going back to Captain Sam Spit, as you described it, and thinking about the natural resources section, if we wanted to put in there something about it's the home to various shorebirds and a turtle nesting area, that might be something that would be accurate and true and important about Captain Sam Spit as a natural resource. And strand feeding for dolphins, those three things I think would be instrumental in describing Captain Sam
Incorporating
Spit.
a wildlife component to this section.
There you go, thank you.
Yeah, I think if you can tack that onto the undeveloped first sentence. Replace what's there.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, the only thing I would also suggest, which By and by, I agree with the comments about largely retained in a natural state. But I would suggest having some reference to this dramatic event that happens about every 15 years of potentially relocating the channel. Because that's a rather significant event. And ultimately, let's fast forward and say that all of Captain Sam's is retained in a natural state and it's controlled by a conservancy group or whatever. They're going to be asked by the town of Seabrook to whack off a big chunk of the western end. So it would seem appropriate to have wording in here, at least referencing the historical cycle of that, and maybe even allude to whether there's support of that or yet to be determined, because that's not an insignificant event.
I think we could deal with that in the steps and the elements, but you might look at that last sentence, that second paragraph under now, split erosion and accretion, whatever. If you say the loose sediment from the Kiowa River is likely to be continuously occurring phenomenon, which is true, instead of bound to be, it's likely to be. And that'll cover both sides of it.
Is that okay? Change bound to likely?
Yeah, likely.
Yeah, in the steps and elements,
Well, that would, in effect, cover it.
Well, I mean, we have 14 pages of past history and we have 1 page of goals and objectives. And something like that, maybe we should put that as a objective and a strategy.
Ponder.
Because like I said, we've had 14 pages of Kiowa's history. And now we get to the plan. And we have 1 page, and it's all fairly general.
what would you suggest?
I'm just saying, if
make
we've
sure
got,
we're-
if you want to put something specific, you could make a specific
Yeah.
objective of Captain Sam's. And again, that may require relocation of the inlet on a continuing basis,
I mean, I think under strategy, you've moved to page 70, is that correct?
No, I'm not moving, I'm just saying, I'm looking
But-
at it
But
from
in
a.
theory, yeah.
But in theory, what I'm getting at is, it says, what we talk about here is to become a leader in the implementation of projects and measures to protect, preserve, and improve the island's natural landscape. I think that's the intentionality of this document, is to leave it open enough for interpretation as to what that means, as opposed to being definitive about a particular thing.
No, but to Ron's point, I think, which is valid, we've got information in here about a piece of the island's resources. What about the rest of it? Run out a couple paragraphs or something about the rest of the island's natural resources.
I mean, we do talk about marsh management plans and all the other things. What you're saying is, why did we target that area? I think it's targeted because it's been targeted, meaning it's a conversational piece that's already, the other parts of the island aren't changing as much. This is the part of the island that's getting the most fluctuation.
Well, then,
And graphically, you can see it from space.
put it in front of the map, if you want to make it one of the items we're talking about. Talking about the marsh management, we're talking about the cooperation of the Marsh Management Committee, and then talk about Captain Sam's.
I mean, I guess you could also just make it a bullet point under strategy and R 2.5. You put in there some specific areas, so if you wanted to put in Captain Sam's.
Okay.
Page
All right, so under strategy in R25, you want us to list Captain Sam Spit as, okay.
I think don't we cover that when we talk about natural areas? Consider strategies to protect natural habitats and corridors in the very first step, or in the first objective.
All right, just so I know where we are. We finished commentary on page 69. We're now on the objectives and strategies on page 70 and 71. And there's a conversation being had about Captain Sam Spit. There was also a conversation that was brought up about the December 2023 nor'easter flood event, somehow referencing those two things in these objectives and strategies. And we need to figure out where we put them.
So if,
Sure, it's this one page.
Actually, I was going to suggest we call it out as a number objective, rather than be under 2.5, maybe make it
Its own.
2.7, and preserve Captain Sam Spit and the eastern tip of the island in its natural state.
Well, that's an objective, not a strategy, though, right?
It's an objective.
Yeah,
So, objective.
objective NR4.
Objective in R4. So yeah, we've got the other three objectives are champion the design with nature approach, develop tools to incentivize environmental stewardship, and maintain and expand public environmental education and outreach programs. So you're suggesting objective number 4 is going to have to do specifically with Captain Sam Spit and the other end of the island that's also experiencing accretion and, okay.
I would recommend, because we have those two objectives in R1 and in R2, that those speak to a broader approach of what the goal is. And so if we want to call out Captain Sam's and specifically putting a strategy around it, opposed to a fourth objective, because now that fourth objective, in my opinion, you're looking at the strategies in which we would look at that specific site, if that makes sense.
Well, I guess I have a question more about the whole plan. Because we've been, like I said, we've spent a lot of time going through history, but yet we're very general and not really making any specific strategies. I mean, they're all sound great, but there's actually no action plans.
There is
So-
none, and it's not designed to be.
Well, that's what my question is. Is this supposed to be just sort of a open-ended,
It's a
we want to do all the,
strategic plan for
the
a
final
10-year
document
period.
is we just want to do the right things?
Not an action plan.
Not intended to be targeted.
Okay.
It's to get you guys thinking as a community of what you need to be thinking about over the next 10 years, objectively.
I will say that a number of comp plans that I worked on, is big general in here, and at the end, they do a matrix that lists the objectives and strategies and assign short,
We
mid,
have-
long-range kind of timeframes.
If you look at the last version, we had a timeline on all of it.
Partnership, who would be doing that? So it does give you that roadmap without
Yeah.
getting into too specific.
Nick, remind me, did we get rid of that, or did we somehow transfer that to kind of the beginning of the document as an explanation of what would happen later? Is that what we did? Do you remember? Because we talked about this.
What, sorry, I couldn't only hear you, David.
All right, what she was asking about was, in our previous version, we talked about that matrix at the end of the document that talked about the culmination of the objectives and strategies and where dollars would be spent, time would be spent, things like that, responsible parties. Do we still have that in this document, or did we decide to move that to the front and make it just a bigger statement about that that's the intentionality of it?
Yeah, so that implementation table that we were showing in a previous draft, that was at the end of the documents. And right now, I was looking for clarification if that was staying in the document or not,
Okay.
based on some previous comments. So currently it's not in the document, but it can easily be added back in. And if the commissioner would like it to be at the front of the document, it's fine, but
Prioritizing, I think, became a little bit of a challenge for us in understanding of what it was. That's why I think we were thinking it would be more general as opposed to making it a matrix, because it was a matrix at one point.
No, but I mean, I think in the way to keep it from being specific in the
I agree.
is you have your objectives and strategies. At the end, you take those objectives and strategies.
Yeah, what David is,
Specific.
what David says, we started that, we had a matrix, and that we pivoted away from that originally. So if that's the desire of the commission to return to that way,
Why don't
know
we,
if that's the-
when we get to the, I'd like to get through the rest of the document next time. No, I'm not talking about even this time. I want to do that this time too. When we get to the end of the document, we'll have reviewed the entire document. And then we can go back to, we can show you how we've repositioned it at the beginning to say that the goals of this is to give you those big picture objective strategies. And if any significant areas need a more in-depth study, that would, we don't give specifics. We're just addressing it as a kind of a conclusion, I guess, you know, something as opposed to being very specific. We need to put X amount of dollars in this and X amount of dollars in that. And if you remember that graph, it had like a $1 sign, $2 sign, $3, like they do for restaurants. It tells you how expensive it is. That's kind of what it did. It wasn't specific to like money. It was just a generic. Anyway, so do we want to list objective 4 or not? Do we want to reference Captain Sam Spit, the other end of the island,
We're gonna leave it general, then I don't
and
think,
just talk about the natural resources?
Yeah.
So, and I feel like we've done that in objectives 1 and 2.
sure. I also had this reference to short-term rentals
Yeah.
in our 2.2. I don't really understand how that's in there.
Really I don't think it belongs there. I think it should move to housing if we do it at all.
Why did we put that here, Nick? Do you remember?
As far as I know, that's been our objectives and strategies documents since January.
Yeah, I don't, why did we put it here? We talked about it, but I'm trying to remember.
I think we had tied it behind, because it's under the develop tools and incentivize environmental stewardship objective. So I think you were thinking about using, just that,
It was,
incentivizing.
so it's not, it says, consider providing incentives that are nested within permitting processes or restrictions on short-term rentals. We need to probably say, as it pertains to the natural resources, or so, because that's what it was
I don't
about.
think it even fits.
It doesn't,
If it doesn't fit, we'll take it out.
Yeah, I just take it out.
I'd say remove
Because
it.
I think the first part of it is basically providing incentives for built,
Yeah.
property owners to,
Regulatory, yep.
and then I don't know how the restrictions to short-term rentals.
We'll just take it out. We'll take out that entire section. We'll just go straight to 2.3 and we'll renumber.
On NR2, now .2, the second bullet, identify conservation goals that consider purchase or annexation of properties. Because we don't have properties to be annexed on the island that have to be purchased.
Okay.
Where's the page are you?
Identify it's under strategy, NR 2.3, the second dot, identify conservation goals and consider annexation or purchase of properties. Fine with that. And the nor'easter flood event, December 2023, did we want to capture that in here, or is that just,
In the,
Question I had is, what is the meaning of 2.5?
Consolidate goals.
well, we're listing all of the
Within
environmental.
an organization, how would you consolidate?
so that reference, I think potentially may stemmed out of 2 places. One that comes to me first is when we looked at our marsh management plan and particularly even looking at our zoning code, there's so many different areas of environmental interest. And so we wanted to be able to make sure that we understood all of those in sort of a medium respectable. So when we look at what we have listed here, our Go Green initiative, our marsh management plan, are we actually not working in silos with all of these
So
different plans?
it's not a consolidation in the sense that you're going to put them together. It's a consideration of how they interrelate or something to that effect.
It could be,
One organization?
not in an organization.
The goals, not the organization.
Consolidated onto one group and call it something else, and they're all just subcommittees of our group. So it could be consolidated.
Not necessarily I think your question was whether or not it has to be an organization. What I'm coming from is the objectives or goals that would be associated with these things. So when we do our beach management plan, and then we come back to do our marsh management plan, are we making sure that we tie those things together if they have common threads?
Could have an environmental department or something like that, yeah. I don't know that it's necessarily a.
Or, yeah, even to your point, those are funneled through our environment. All of these objectives are funneled through a specific, so I think it's appropriate. Say it again?
No. Yeah, but they're
Well,
talking about a
I do like
structural change
consolidate because
rather
you're
than a-
cross-referencing.
We're all aligned, yeah,
We just heard that they're gonna,
yeah.
They may
Alignment
decide to
of
put 'em all
goals. I
together.
like that. Alignment of goals. I'll just leave it,
Yeah.
that's easier to.
however you wanna do it, all right.
Alignment of goals, okay.
All right. Sam Spit, Nor'easter. At this point, Sam Spit in the eastern end of the island was left out and was something that we would consider at the end.
If you wanted to.
If we decide to do the matrix or not, it's something we would
I
put
was gonna
on.
say there, David, if you look at NR 1.2, if, just how we have bullets under 2.5.
Oh, right, we could-
You can do 2 bullets under 1.2 to that effect, because that's essentially looking at this.
That's a good point. So under that, we could just put Captain Sam Spit underneath, and don't even say, just name it.
For example, Captain Sands and, yeah.
Yeah.
Captain Sam's Spit and eastern
The only reason I hesitated to
end of the
include it
island.
because the environmental sensitive properties, we can begin to evaluate the criteria of adding another one or that kind of thing, but I think it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can align the goals any way you want to.
Would you put it under NR1 or NR 1.1 or NR 1.2? 2, yeah, that's what I
Yeah, I
thought.
think too. Yeah.
And then the nor'easter flood event, does it live here?
The problem I have with that, that's an event.
It is an event. All right,
Like a 1,000-year flood, are you gonna do
Yeah,
well, that's true.
We should have one for the 10-year flood, the 100-year flood, the
Yeah.
1,000-year flood.
All right, I've got those then. We'll just keep going. Anything else on 70, 71?
Yeah, I'm not sure how you consider, in 2.5, how you consider the existing 2.5. Consider the existing green initiative. The green initiative is a floating concept right now that hasn't really been exposed in detail.
Well, the good news is we changed consolidate to alignment of. So if we find that the green initiative doesn't have any meaningful purpose, then that's an alignment. That's what we're doing.
Just a minor add Go Green initiative, just.
Well, wouldn't the last one cover it, other existing initiatives and plans?
So, yeah.
It's been a priority right now, so that group is up and running.
Not a priority of anything.
Of town council, yeah, that,
Maybe after tomorrow it might be.
It's not a priority,
We've-
Michael Henfelder heads it up.
Oh, I know he does,
Is that we're doing it,
but he is the only one that does.
but we always have one council member to be head of the committee.
You know, the whole concept, though, is covered, if you want to really focus on the green initiative, consider it in the last bullet, along with, consider the existing green initiative along with other existing initiatives and plans available to town council.
You have a problem with identifying it specifically?
Yeah. Is there a committee?
Yes, it's a committee.
There is a committee?
Yes, Dr. Henfelder is the chair.
I say we.
Is he the committee?
I say we leave it,
He's the only one.
move on.
So it's only put one council member. If you have committees from the community are part of that committee as well as staff. It's a pretty big, active committee.
All right. So I think maybe not everybody is unanimous, but we've got majority that says leave it. So I'd like to move to page 72 and 73, cultural resources. Luckily, these sections are a little shorter.
Yeah, we got 1 hour.
The goal to amplify and celebrate Kiowa's unique cultures, customs, and heritage. And again, I appreciate the change of font. It's much easier to read, and I like what he used as the icon there. All right, anything on page 74, 75?
Before you jump to there, N3, I think you can delete. It's redundant.
Which one?
N3, or the old N3, objective.
Where are you?
He's back on page
71.
71.
Oh, where are we going, 72 now? When? We're back to
Oh, the
71.
wrong way.
72 is a picture, that's a nice picture.
What are you saying on
I think 70, N3
You don't want to
should be
expand-
deleted.
You're saying the objective is maintain and expand public environmental education and outreach programs. Is there something wrong with that?
It's not here, in cultural resources maybe.
But this for natural resources, though.
Yeah, this is environmental education, not cultural.
No, but the cultural programs cover all sorts of programs, not just environmental. And they don't eliminate environmental.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think environmental programs or strategies are related to the
And
natural
environmental
resources.
programs are institutionalized in the town of Kiowa. We have our environment department with the wildlife programs, we have the resort and what they do, that's institutionalized as part of the fabric of Kiowa, so I would.
Andy, I can give you a specific need. So the
Fine.
specific need is educate everybody on the island about the red knot population.
Yeah.
More so not disturbing them.
Right.
Kids and bikers, it's not just dogs. It's adults and bikers that are just running through the middle of the flocks at the end of Captain Sam Spit. So this is a really important.
All right.
Leave it and move on.
72, 73,
Leave it.
cultural resources next. Anything on those? All right. 74, 75, arts and cultural activities and events, club and educational activities, premier golf culture.
Club and educational activities, I'd just change it to say that KICA is a gathering place, or uses the Sandcastle as a gathering place, if you want to leave Sandcastle in there.
What's the wrong word?
It's a KICA facility.
Yeah, but everybody on his property buys into it, so.
How about amenities instead of club? I know what Andy's problem is.
No, rentals
Both
don't,
ways. It's one of those goofy words that you can spell both ways.
only owners.
I'm sorry. She said she thought premier might be spelled wrong, and you can spell it with or without the E at the end. I didn't realize that.
Preface that with that, so.
Well, no, that's pretty good. Sorry.
Nitpicky thing, on the first paragraph on 74, 365 days of cultural programming. I don't think we really have everything every day,
Year-round.
year-round.
Got it. Cultural programming regardless of
Yeah,
interest.
yeah.
We're not telling you about that.
Damn,
We know there's 365, but you're not gonna cut in on that, are you?
I'm only here 183.
That's funny.
All right. Anything else on those two? Want to go to the map, 76, 77, activity centers? So- Yeah, they're not on the island, though, are they? They're on John's Island, right?
Right.
Right, yeah.
I think
They're part of the resort.
we could,
You want to mention them?
we can cover it when we have the graph in the back with all the entities, where I had it.
Sure.
Just an edit in it, 75, Premier Golf Culture. it's referred to as the Ocean Course.
Where are you?
Island Club,
Oh, third line, yep.
Second, too.
Yes, you're right, okay. Got it.
Then that last sentence, I think that should be golfers playing. This resort course has views throughout to the ocean, which adds an extra challenge for a golfer playing versus.
The golfers. It definitely does. So do you want me to mention the two, well, I'm trying to figure out where to put that. Other resort courses include Turtle Point, Dazan, Osprey, Kruger.
no, I tell you where I put it, and you can decide if you want to put it elsewhere, but I had it on page, I can find it.
Are you referencing like listing out all of the resort
Page
courses?
97.
Well, they did, in the second paragraph.
Well, actually, there's a,
They listed out all the resort courses and the club courses. I think if you just.
at the end of there, two additional resort course. Are they both resort?
No,
One's resort and one's private?
Right,
yeah, I wouldn't even get into any of the details.
Oh, just say two additional courses
They call it in the near future for 2 or 3.
nearby.
Something being proposed. Well, they haven't broke ground yet.
No, but there's definitive.
Yeah.
they started on,
Two additional courses are planned.
they did start.
I'll just leave it at that. Two additional courses are planned. We don't need to get into where they are. All right. 76, 77, Matt?
78.
Amenities are spread far across Key Island. There are varying amenity types to facilitate activities and events across a range of interests.
So
What
this
page are you
map,
on?
It's the map.
The activity centers.
All right.
so the Golf Learning Center,
Did we miss some? Oh, no, the Golf Learning Center's there.
the Golf Learning Center is at Turtle Point. So that,
It's next, it's shown, well, I think it's just how the dots laid out with the wording. But yeah, it's shown on the course. You're saying you should put it closer to the clubhouse.
it's right next to the clubhouse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's just the graphics.
Okay.
78.
Okay,
The second paragraph under community outreach, the town works together with its partners to address social issues on the nearby islands. I mean, most of these organizations we've listed in the first paragraph, it's done outside of Kiowa, it's on the nearby islands.
well, I think, but Kiowa is included in those. So I think islands is just saying that the islands around us, inclusive of that one.
Yeah. Sea
How
islands.
about on the Sea Islands?
Sea Islands.
That's a good idea. I'll just say Sea Islands, okay? All right. Anything on 79?
No, I'm sorry, the last paragraph on the right side, there are additional sites within the town that KIHC could focus their preservation efforts. I mean, they haven't really focused them yet, to the point of the Bass Pond site. Years ago, we did study them, that was it. And the Vandross House, while it's in private hands now, I think the National Register requires it open to the public certain days.
We don't.
That's one of the objectives.
Oh, we're in British, like we have one on Kiowa, so like we don't have a.
No, and if you read the paragraph, the second paragraph, Kiowa Island aims to preserve the cultural heritage of the place through the creation of the Kiowa Island history. That's what Brett,
Okay, but the title makes
Maybe-
it sound like we already have.
yeah, well, everything else has an acronym.
That starts with a K.
That starts with a K. We gotta have one. I mean, where y'all been? We need one.
At the beginning,
It'd be be the KIF.
Part of the big idea of this was to form.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, on the bottom of that paragraph on 79, processes during the formative period of Kiowa cannot be overstated.
Where you at?
Bottom line on 79.
What do you,
Processes during the formative period cannot be overstated, of Kiowa. Formative period
Oh,
of
of
Kiowa.
Kiowa, Ave.
I would recommend in the middle of the first paragraph, on 79, where there's a reference to Mr. Royal passing away in 1964. I would add, leading to the eventual sale of the island to the Kuwait Investment Company in 1974. The reason I suggest that is that's when the modern era of Kiowa started.
All right, I see where you are. Tell me the wording and where I added again.
I would suggest that we, leading to the eventual sale of the island to the Kuwait Investment Company in 1974.
In 1974. Got it.
Could- Probably couldn't hear.
Information we left out in this historical piece,
Well,
essentially the slave community, because a number of black families that come to Kiowa has done research and they're offended that Kiowa leaves that piece out.
Let's not do that.
So if we have some, we put some on our website a little bit, but we may just want to add some of that.
Yeah.
Just in case, so I'll send that to you.
Hey, Dave, what was that comment?
So what Stephanie was saying is that there's been some, the history of the island includes African-American history related to slavery and just the history of the African-American culture here, and that we need to at least acknowledge it in this section somehow.
That was a large part of the Bass Pond site
And I can just give you guys some, you can fill out the wording.
and the
Yeah.
burial ground that's over there.
Stephanie, I'm just going to bubble this and say Stephanie's going to send us some wording to add to this section.
okay?
Okay?
I want to recognize we're at the bottom of the hour now, so just.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll write this note down. If y'all want to go to the next page, I'll be there in a second.
Jurassic.
Where are you at?
Oh, because
For
it's
the very last
capitalized.
line, kind of to Andy's point, this cannot be overstated. What is the formative period? Or when is it?
Beginning of
It-
Island.
Yeah. The formative period of Kiowa cannot be overstated. I think we capitalized it because it was a significant thing that they were talking, in this section, we were talking about.
The history.
Formative, as people inhabited the island. So maybe, is there another way to say it?
If the comment, and I think if it's lowercase, it still holds the same weight.
All right, we'll
so
just
I don't-
lowercase it.
If that's what you was going. Okay.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. All right. Page 80 and 81, the objectives and strategies.
80.
80, yeah, I'm sorry.
One is a photograph of Larry Iwan's living room.
Yeah, right. Do you live at the sanctuary? I was wondering where you lived.
Bar.
Yeah, that's the bar at the sanctuary.
Not true. They said,
Portrait there. Right above the fireplace, smiling in, right?
When this meeting's over, I'll come join you there.
Larry's chocolate martinis aren't as good as the ones here.
I guess I thought maybe that's not the best picture for,
Culture.
Nick, I think I said that. What would be a better image? You know, I thought we might have I don't know, what would be a better image? We got lots of pictures, so just kind of think of the places on the island and tell me what you think would be.
maybe something that, maybe the Ocean Course Clubhouse or something.
Okay?
We're talking more history, heritage, guys.
Yeah,
and I
this
think
is-
this
Well, I mean,
Why not a picture of one of the events with people, something at Freshfields? People around
Do you
the,
have,
Mark, do you have any old pictures
yeah, I was going to say, are there any historic pictures?
other than your Jeep?
All right.
All right, thank you.
yeah.
All right, picture from,
On strategy, on 80, strategy CR 12, I'd change the first bullet to read, consider the empowerment of a council or the council to oversee. It's the first time we talk about the Arts Council. They should be empowered to oversee the vibrant culture of their activities, and then corroborate with KIA, but it's really the empowerment goes to the council.
I saw that, I just moved that. The CR2's objective is supposed to be above champion the cultural history, I just moved that up.
They have the power to do it, and money,
So what are you suggesting? So,
they should set their own agendas, and they should set the cultural activities for the island with the corroboration with KIA.
I almost would just remove that.
I'm not
bullet
sure if you
under-
need KIA in there at all.
I'd say I almost would just remove the.
strategy CR 1.3, take it out altogether?
No, the bullet underneath CR 1.2,
Oh, empower the council.
if that's what, maybe I
well, I think one,
misunderstood your.
so if we numbered them properly, CR 1.1 and CR 1.3 are kind of the same thing. We have two CR 1.2, so let's make the first one CR 1.1.
Yeah,
And then basically your
you're right, we don't have to say it
strategies
twice.
are sort of the same.
All right, so I'm going to get rid of strategy CR 1.3 altogether. The first CR 1.2 will be named CR 1.1.
Right?
And objective CR2 is going to move to the top of the page and be above what it actually is, which is champion the cultural history of
And you're
Kiev.
going to strike 1.3.
Yes.
Andy, what were you were saying something about the bullet point under 1.2? Empower the
Empower the council to oversee Kiowa's vibrant culture.
Are you good with that?
Consider the empowerment. Again, we're not telling them to do it, but telling them it's got to be considered.
I would just make it clear that that's the Arts and Cultural Council, so that it's,
Oh, so, okay, that's where I think the confusion was. So empower the Arts and Cultural Council.
Yes.
Okay.
That makes a lot more sense. You're right.
On CR 2.1 on the next page,
Where
I'd
we?
encourage,
It's on the same page, yeah.
encourage and consider the establishment of Kiowa Islands Historical Society 2, and then the two bullets will be to focus and to promote.
I just thought maybe you just get rid of encourage and just say establish the Kiowa Island Historic Society.
I'm good.
Well, if you're going to say
this was actually our weekend.
consider
night.
the
This was act-
establishment,
If we look at the previous version, this was sort of what I would call the weekend version. So this is, I think, palatable from our previous
Yeah,
previous
I think
errors.
there was discrepancy between, like, coming out and saying establish it, and then others were saying we should just encourage it, and this is the language we landed on to find that middle ground.
and strike the wills in both bullets.
Okay, just promote and focus.
Yep.
Yep, that's fine, we'll get rid of will.
Society 2:12.
Okay.
All right, community facilities next. The goal is to maintain and improve Kiowa's world-class amenities, utilities, and services. Anything on this page?
CF3 on objectives.
Okay.
We're not
Assess and
competing with comparable communities. What we're doing is trying to protect the property values on Keel Island
That makes us
by
compete.
improving the amenities and
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about like Sea Island and, other places that people would consider going to. And it does maintain property values. That's, I think,
yeah, but we're not competing with them in what respect?
We could say as compared to a couple.
okay, as compared to. How about assess and improve amenity and utility offerings comparable to other communities? To similar communities? Assess and improve amenity and utility offerings comparable to other sea island communities?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's go to it and see. So we changed the wording there. You're saying we didn't change it in the end?
No, it's just really different. CF3 is really different. Under the objectives and strategies, it says establish recurring means of identifying gaps and barriers to fulfilling the full range of amenities and utilities comparable with other competing communities on the.
That's probably just a miss. Nick, do you see that? Go to page, if you look at CF3 on page 83 and you go to CF3 on page 105, they don't say the same thing.
All right, I'll change it.
And we're wanting to change it to assess and improve amenity and utility offerings comparable to competitive communities?
Yes.
How about we
I'm
finish
sorry.
it? We can
You
just
say
add it with that.
forward?
Assess and improve amenity and utility offerings comparable to competitive communities to maintain, no, is it maintain?
Protect,
Well, the goal is to maintain and improve.
maintain and improve or protect.
Right, to maintain property values. Got it. All right.
Nervous about that maintain property values. You could put that at the end of every one of these.
You could, that's true.
Good, good.
That's a
Call
good
it out
point.
in community facilities.
Right.
Not sure I'd call that. You're thinking on what you want to do and saying why.
Yeah.
Only one time.
We put in housing.
I would just.
I mean, it's not just the community facilities that are doing it.
Right,
have
right.
transportation.
Everything else is relevant. So why don't we just say comparable to competitive communities? And we just leave it alone.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
All right,
We all know why we're doing it.
right.
I think your first sentence of the second paragraph could probably be split in a couple different sentences. It's kind of
Okay.
a mouthful.
Yes, it is.
After
Right.
security enforcement period. Community amenities are all necessary. Could do it that way.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, it's just too much.
Let's just stop, I'll put a period at the end of Kiowa Island. And emergency operations, water, wastewater service, solid waste management.
Say most of these services are provided by private entities.
Okay. All right.
With coordination and government services, so.
We'll restructure it.
84, 85 now?
Yep.
Got nothing on 84, 85, I do, the last sentence, actually, it's not the last sentence, just above future critical service providers, we have Kiowa Island Community Association provides limited private security. Why not just say limited?
Why would you say, what are you saying? Read it the way you would like it to say.
He's saying you
Kiowa-
got the word private.
Take out the word private.
Gotcha.
Where are you at?
Like inside the main gate.
For the area. I'll get rid of inside the main gate.
What's that?
That inside stage,
No,
just
in-
leave private, take.
No,
take
inside the main
out-
No.
gate comes out too, because
Yeah.
they provide security outside the main gate.
Okay. The Kiowa Island Community Association provides limited security services for the area, period.
Okay.
And that,
It is limited, though, to inside the main gate.
No, security
AICA.
controls our neighborhoods outside the gate. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. in
did you
terms
catch
of
that, David?
Yeah.
The, just the
Ones some
one,
people think are a part of the town as opposed to,
that second paragraph on page 85, the town's Public Safety Committee has assessed the combined coverage is sufficient for the island's needs. I know that we're studying that right now, or I just want to,
It's inconsistent with what we say.
Yeah, because we
It's
talk about
consistent.
needing it. You're right.
all right, I just wanted to make sure.
So the town's what's it? It's assessed at the combined coverage. Right?
It was putting the intimates on is sufficient today if today we are sufficient
For our current needs?
for our current needs versus that's what I'm trying to really understand.
When they have assessed that, too, we're going to start actually a needs assessment gap analysis to determine if
I understand it based on the comments that we received during input that we're okay, but I think with the conversations being had, maybe it can be worded, phrased that we are really doing a refresh.
I mean, maybe you just get rid of the whole paragraph.
you might want to, because it's going to look kind of weird that the compound says that it's not sufficient, and Castle says it is sufficient.
All right, we'll just take it out.
yeah, we got it in the steps, we're gonna have to consider
We're going to remove that last paragraph.
study there.
Five, critical service providers. Last sentence in the first paragraph. Is Harris Teeter really a critical service provider?
Crowded?
Food service? Where are you?
Oh, critical service providers, first paragraph, last sentence. Now, just, is Harris Teeter a critical service provider?
Oh, is there a line somewhere?
It's emergency.
It's critical.
Before you get down that far, though, the St. John's Fire Department plans a future station on the nearby Kiowa River community or development. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Okay, on the Kiowa River development.
Or in.
In.
Now, on the next, or the last paragraph of that section, on the right side, the new 12,056 square foot facility, is that the latest footage in the new building? Because it's been dropped, I think it went down to 8,000 something?
No, it's 12.
MUSC, I thought,
No, MFC, that's.
when he
that's
made the
right square
presentation the other day, it was less. But, okay, as long as it's the last one.
All right, next page.
Just as a heads up, guy, we've got another meeting in 20 minutes.
Well, we got a lot of images, so that's good. We should be able to get through this. So this is community facilities. The map shows where they all are.
Kiowa Family Medicine? What is that? No, it's not at Freshfields. It's in the middle of the island, somewhere between West Beach and East.
Yeah. He's gonna stay in that facility, even though it's gonna be part of MUSC.
This
No, that's
is the
him,
map.
yeah.
On the map, do I delete it or leave it?
Delete it.
Leave it.
Delete it.
Either that or move it to my
Delete it.
house.
It's gone. All right, on page 88, 89.
Quickly, I don't know if we wanted to include the planned facility for MUSC, or is this just tied to exactly what's today? If that, for the map, that was just.
Yeah, I'd take that out. That sentence.
That planned
the utility
facility-
providers,
It's not, would it be on the map? It's going to be, it's just off the map, isn't it?
No, it would be in Freshfields,
Oh, it's at Freshfields.
yeah. So I would just.
All right, what should we call it?
Urgency.
All right, planned MUSC facility. All right, we'll put it at Freshfields, got it. All right, on the next page, 88, 89.
Where was this data that, for the 31,000 additional residents age 65 and up? Where did that come from? Does that
Nick,
come
did you
from
hear that
MUSC?
question? Are you on? Is your microphone on?
Yes. Sorry, just mumbles.
No, I heard, where are you referring to?
This is the future critical services. It's talking about MUSC, and it
He's
it
back on page 85.
gives that
Yeah.
31,000.
I think this came from the Kimley Horn assessments.
Yeah, I'm assuming this came from Kimley Horn. I didn't write this passage right here. I can ask the person who did. But I think this came from Kimley Horn data.
This is projecting population growth
probably
John's
came from
Island.
the information.
in the Sea
hospitals
Islands
provide.
communities.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're looking kind of in this area.
Yeah, I understand.
in
Service
projecting.
area.
Right.
That's hospital language.
Stuff they supply the state with,
Right.
justify the facility.
Okay.
The, on 88, utility service providers, the right paragraph, right side paragraph, recommendation made by the planning team, I'd change that to the town is currently assessing access to the following services. Or currently assesses, I'm sorry. The town of Kiowa Island currently assesses the following services every 5 years.
So just get rid of the recommendation part, just say the town of Kio Island assesses.
Yeah, I'd take out that
Are you guys okay? All right,
Yes.
part of the sentence. Started off with the town of Kiowa.
got it.
The last sentence in that paragraph, the reports should be made or are available and digestible. I don't know why digestible, but to residents and Key Island stakeholders.
This report is made available
To residents.
residents.
Key Island, yeah.
and Key Island stakeholders. Got it.
To confirm, there already is an assessment that happens every 5 years that exists. Because I know that was a strategy that we had talked about in the past.
Okay, so if it's already happening, then it's not,
Yeah, it's currently
just needs to
assesses,
continue.
currently assesses the following services. Yeah.
Town of Kiowa Island. Nick, did you just said that they have done it?
No, I'm asking if there is. Because the way that we're changing this wording is saying that there is a planning assessment that happens every 5 years, not that there should be
Don't-
an assessment that happens every 5 years.
Don't we bring them in to get an update? Yeah. Well,
So we should change, the town of Kiowa Island should assess,
should assess. Okay.
will, two, we said two,
Should
should.
assess the following services every 5 years to ensure. I would, on the bottom of 89, make it quick, the electrical and communication utility section. I'd go back and check. I think Comcast is probably the larger of the groups now servicing telephone providers.
We'll just add it.
AT&T is cutting back, and I don't think they've ever been the largest.
Did we get this from Kimley Horn too?
Sorry?
Dick?
This might have been from a previous comp plan. I could check with Kara.
All right, so we'll just say Comcast. We'll add Comcast. And we'll find out which one's the
Well,
biggest.
Comcast is really
Comcast is there. They're
Xfinity.
listed as Xfinity.
Xfinity is in there, that's Comcast.
Yep. All right, so we'll need to add them. We just need to confirm that AT&T is the biggest.
I guess the other thing is, I mean, I don't think you really, if you want to, I don't know what the picture above does for that, other than it's a light pole. Well, I tried to figure out what the rest of it, but yeah, the only thing that had any was the light pole.
Berkeley polls, if you want that one.
Yeah,
Oh, no. Please.
That's Fresh Fields. Yeah,
You can get the toilet paper towel on the, tower on the crosstown. Oh, that thing's awful.
Page 90,
All right.
the third bullet on the right-hand side column, third bullet and the fifth bullet seem to be redundant. I'd pick one or the other.
What, projecting the impact of future growth on the safety of our community, enhanced or expanding current services if necessary. Am I reading?
Oh, the next one,
Oh,
projecting.
projecting the impact of future
Yeah.
growth. I'll get rid of the second one.
One or the other.
Yeah, I'll get rid of the second one.
you have a typo in the last sentence in the first paragraph. There are currently 25 off-duty, is that Deputy Sorn?
Yes.
Actually, my, I don't know if
Yep, personnel.
Yeah, thank you.
No, listen, if y'all see these, please just pick them up for us and send us something. Send them to John, he can forward them to us. I know, it's the program. No, no, I know, but just so you know, the way this document is written, we actually write the document in Word, right? And then we put it in this program because this is how you lay it out on a board. And then edits happen. And when we're editing, sometimes things like that happen. So I wish it was, I know, I wish the program was smart enough.
David,
91.
90% of the comments you're hearing today probably could have been avoided by getting the material earlier and giving the nits to John.
Yeah, that's fine.
And
I mean, we'll give,
Not waste the time of everybody going through commas and changes and words and whatever, but we don't have it until, I mean, we didn't get this until Monday.
oh, I'm sorry about that. We will get the next
And
one
you,
too.
I mean, I don't know, it got held up in a lot of
We're
places.
trying to get it to you a week in advance.
running out of
That's,
time.
that's our intention. Yep,
Yeah, we're
almost
steady
there.
here, guys. Page 91, moving on.
All right. Anything on 92 or 93?
here for the meeting.
Yes.
if you want.
Okay,
Second paragraph of 92, the big effort made by the town of Kiowa, second paragraph, it's an effort. I don't know how big in contrast to what. And I'd consider that whole second paragraph, and this is part of what should be managed in a way similar to the marsh management plan, which we have in the listing.
all right, the town of Kiowa is making an effort. A conservative effort?
Yeah.
Should I say conservative?
Why
or
not just take the second
an
paragraph
effort?
out?
Or, I missed, I don't know.
We're-
So he's on the second
Second
paragraph on page
First sentence.
92.
Isn't
First
it-
paragraph on the Kiowa goes
It's
green.
part of the the Go Green initiative, and that second paragraph, he's saying, change the first sentence to say the town of Kiowa is making an effort to move towards being electric vehicular friendly on the island.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Well,
KGGI.
Get rid of ES, the Go Green, in both places. Got it. All right, anything else?
Yeah, I don't, again, the electric vehicle infrastructure, we've got this, the emphasis here makes it a major, major priority, and there has been a survey done that has not been publicized that contradicts that.
What, that an effort has been made, or that
So that
the
it's
need
a-
is there?
That it should be a major effort.
Well,
Depends on whether you have an electric car or not.
yeah, if
No,
I had an electric
even
car, I'd
that.
wanted an effort.
Because what this is saying is the town is taking on the responsibility to make the effort to put up charging stations and everything else,
We are.
as opposed to, huh?
Town is. Town
I
is.
know they are.
We do it behind the gate, though?
Right here.
And the question
these
is
others
asked
are all-
by council members as to why. And
Why are
why
we-
is it needed? And why should we spend all this money for it?
Well, it's definitely needed with all the tourists
Oh,
coming
it
in.
is.
They
Where?
can charge and pay for it.
And Kiowa Resort has it, Andel has it, the other
Yeah,
operations on the island have it.
Yeah.
The local people, if they're renting, have it locally in garages or otherwise.
No, no, no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I know electric cars. You're talking about one of my subjects now.
Okay.
We need it, we're 5 to 7 years behind.
Exactly.
We need it.
Yes.
Okay,
You
All right.
believe it's gonna happen?
it will happen.
It doesn't happen.
You won't be around then.
It has happened.
It'll happen.
4 years from now, it won't happen.
Okay, it is happening. Move on, guys.
All right, anything else on those 2 pages? All right, the 95 the community facilities, these are the EV charging station location possibilities. 97, amenity service providers.
Second paragraph, you got the sandcastle. Turtle Point Clubhouse is really not an amenity provider. It's a golf course, it's got a clubhouse, it's got a restaurant, but it's all part of KICA. I'm sorry, it's all part of the resort.
I was trying to understand what you're trying to do there too, because a little bit with Andy, there's a restaurant there, but there's also a restaurant in Osprey. there's
All the others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's not just KICA members have
Turtle Point's
access.
really be under a resort, not.
Yeah, it shouldn't be on, it shouldn't be in there.
Just take out
just-
Turtle Point Clubhouse, I think you're okay on the rest.
Yeah.
All right, where am I supposed to do this?
This
the
is on
chart?
page 97.
97.
On the diagram?
Paragraph, third line,
Diagram.
96.
Page 97, David, on the very right-hand corner, where it says Turtle Point Clubhouse.
Yes? Well, we got Turtle Point, so that red one right there.
It's also in the narrative,
And you just want me to take it out of Kika?
right?
X that one out.
And on the Key Island Club,
Club members have access to Cacique, River, Marsh, Beach Club, Sasanquip, Kiwa Island. No, it's not listed there. Kiwa Island Golf
Key Island
Resort
Club,
offers.
beach clubs plural. There's at least 3, maybe 4. And then add, and there's where you want to get, if you want to put it in, Key Island Club also has a sports complex at Cacique, if you want to add that.
Do you have that
With
marked on your
amenity.
page? Do you have it marked there, what you want to do?
You can read it, yeah.
All right, I'll take that, so you'll have to go to your next meeting, because